6.5 is on the road here in San Diego for Cisco Live 2025. Daniel, it's been a great event. It's been pretty much about AI, agentic AI, and how networking, security, safety, and observability come together to make great things happen for customers.
Yeah, it's been a big year for Cisco. You and I have chronicled the journey quite a bit. And a year ago, we were asking a lot of questions about the company. Where are they at with AI? What does the story? How does it evolve? And over the past couple of quarters, we've seen a lot of it. Their AI summit with the launch of AI Defense, that was a big moment. And I think here at Live was really an opportunity to sort of cement the company's strategy, which is what I saw. And you start to see, the market is responding.
Right.
You're seeing the share prices rise, which, it had been kind of stagnant for a period of time, and now all of a sudden you're really getting that rise. And really, I think what Cisco showed us over the course of this week is that it is here in this generation, in the AI era, to play the same way it did in the internet era.
Yeah, that's right. And Cisco as a company has diversified so much. A lot of the times to pull all that together and have a contiguous experience for end customers, whether it's on the network side and the multiple ways that can be consumed, on the security side, the safety side, the observability side, customer experience is becoming even more important. And doing that in the age of agentic AI has some opportunities there. And I can't imagine a better person to talk about it other than Liz Centoni, who runs the CX group here at Cisco. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Yeah. This is my first time with 6.5, so I'm excited.
Yeah, it's great to see you. Thank you. You've had a great career at Cisco that we talked a lot when you were running strategy, and I appreciated all of our interactions then. So thank you.
Yeah, I've run a few businesses at Cisco, so been here for 25 years.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, just to your point though, it's been so acquisitive that, having that kind of CX layer in a company that's built itself both organically and inorganically this way, and being able to tie and thread all this together and then build for the AI era. So let's start there. Liz, first of all, it's great to have you. You've been here, about a year in this role, right? Talk a little bit about kind of how you're thinking about the org and what is it really focused on, because this is a really important role, but it's not a role that necessarily exists in every company. It's something that Cisco seems to be really focused on building around.
Yeah, CX means different things to different companies. So maybe I'll start with what it means for Cisco. So my team is about 21,000 people. And we do professional services, so the deploy part of it, adoption, so customer success. I have a renewals team that covers all of Cisco renewals, not just services, and then a customer support team as well. I think when I think about CX's role, it's very simple. It is, we take the innovations that the product team builds, and we bring that to life in our customer's environment. So think about it as a glue that makes it kind of come to life, if I could simplify it. And then helping our customers through their entire life cycle, because the life cycle is not just, it doesn't just start and end with design, build, and ship it. It's where we help a customer, deploy it in their environment, adopt it, help them renew it, and then help them support it through the life cycle. So that's what CX does.
That's great. I mean, you and your team are probably in front of customers as much as even the sales team. And my guess is that you hear a lot about some of their key challenges, particularly with enterprise AI. I mean, it's a big opportunity, but there's a lot of challenges. What are they telling you right now about the challenges that they're facing?
Yeah, a lot of the challenges are same things that you, Patrick, have probably heard for like so many years. It's around keep my environment highly resilient and reliable. Help us adopt the technology so it's faster time to value, so we can move on to actually, again, it's revenue generation, customer experience, and simplify it, because things have gotten so complex. How do we make it less complicated? So none of these are really new, but with AI, their expectations have gone from here all the way here, because they're like, break fix in support, it's no longer acceptable. I want predictive and proactive. So majority of the times, you need to know me so well that you tell me ahead of time, how do I optimize the environment so I don't have outages, for example. And they're expecting by the time I purchase something to when I get value out of it, close that gap for me. And so for us, when I think about AI and CX, I don't need to look very far. This is things that we've been hearing from customers for like 10, 20, 30 years, that agentic AI now gives us the ability to really go after it and solve it, not just incremental fixes.
Makes sense.
It's really interesting that you say that. I was thinking back to some of the research we did over the years about, customer experience and engagement. And, AI has kind of brought this all back to life a little bit, Liz, but we had this period of time where, consumerization, because you're a big B2B business, but the experiences that we have, whether it's on an Amazon or, when we're buying stuff online, we've gotten so used to kind of that immediacy and the instant response time, being able to get updates. And then in B2B, it was always like, why does it fall off? Because, obviously, there's a lot of reasons, but in the AI era, can I get instant information on an RMA when I'm returning something? Can I understand exactly where my product is when it's in flight? Like things like that, like AI is making so powerful. But you have this kind of balance too of augmenting humans and technology and machines. And you actually did some research that was really interesting on kind of agentic.
Yeah.
And by the way, you had a great session. Thanks for doing the Q&A. And, I think you had a number, I'm trying to go by memory, like 68% of interactions in 2026, see if how my memory is doing, are going to be done with agentic AI. I think that was the number. How do you sort of think about that? Because that's going to reshape your org. It's going to reshape the way you interact with customers. It's going to reshape the work that people do. I mean, this research is really, really exciting.
So just a little slight tweak. They said 56% said that they expect that all our interactions with the customer experience will be handled by agentic. 68% said in 3 years, right? So almost
Pretty good,
there,
though.
close
Pretty good.
Close enough.
But really, it's not. By the way, it's not on this screen. I literally was trying to do that for
That's awesome. That surprised me, the extent to which customers expected that, because 93% of them said that they believe that with the ability to do agentic, they want more of their partners and vendors to deliver proactive, predictive capabilities. And so I think I expected, the shift. I didn't expect this much of kind of almost like a complete change with customer expectations that have kind of gone through the roof in terms of, because they're looking at it and going, you have all my data. You've known me for how many years? 4 plus years. You should be able to do it. You should be able to know me better than I know myself.
It's all about that kind of next best action too.
Yeah.
It's like the tools have been there, our social tools kind of read us, I don't know what the ads are that show up in yours, but I keep getting the ads for the peptides. We're into really healthcare and journey. So what I'm saying is like when I'm on Facebook, it like knows what I talk about all the time and it can read me. But sometimes in work, it's like, why don't you know that this is what I need? And it sounds like people are expecting you to build it. And I mean, I don't know, but in a year. I mean, they're literally a year from now, Liz, they want this to be built.
I'm not that anxious about it because it's already underway for us. So if I look at support today, our AI assistant is taking we've digitized our knowledge base and best practices. So our AI assistant sits, our engineers actually use it and it recommends the next best action. So what that means is that we're able to close, especially some very complex issues in a pretty short amount of time compared to how we did that before. But that to me is just becoming table stakes. It's like the expectations are like, that's great, but most of what I want you to do is like, I want you to give me like a crystal ball tool. Like what should I do in my environment such that I can reduce the number of outages? I mean, we'll never get to the point where it's 0 outages, but if I can reduce it dramatically, I think that would be awesome. And that's where we think agentic systems, it's analyzing all this historical data that we have. We get real-time telemetry from our customers. We know what the interaction patterns are. We know what the dependency is across the stack. We should be able to do that. By the way, with RMA, we do predictive RMA now with the data that we have, where we can actually ship components or a full system to the customer when we see the degradation in either a component or a full system.
Yeah, when I see figures on those expectations changing so much, I've been in tech, I guess, 35 years this month, and I've probably done 1,000 or been involved in 1,000 research projects with consumers and business users. And the first question I always ask is, gosh, do we ask the right question? Yes. Do they actually know what they're responding to, right? And it's almost like knowing your customers more than they do on how they respond. But I do believe that this one is real because they've used ChatGPT and they're trying to put themselves in this B2B zone of how they would expect. So, Liz, is Cisco ready for this to meet that demand? I mean, I saw some great demos on stage and things like that, but is Cisco ready in a year to be able to do this, or are you here now?
We're here now, and I would say the expectations keep increasing because I do think that we're just beginning to feel out like what agentic systems can do for us. Like when you think about, I want instant response, and by the way, I don't want to talk to a human. So our TAC assistant today is used by 250,000 unique users.
Okay.
Right? It's like self-service. I want to be able to address it. With the way that we've used AI and automation, our low severity cases have fallen down by at least about 25%.
That's amazing.
Our high severity has gone down by 10%. We expect that to grow because with more predictive and proactive, that's fewer cases. And with the work that we're doing with customers, especially with the next best recommended action, how do we reduce the time in terms of any issue that we're addressing in real time?
Yeah.
So I don't think we have an option here. In fact, right after my engineering leader, he said, "Hey, great way to showcase everything the team's doing." And I said, "By the way, there's a lot of things on the roadmap that we still need." And he goes, "It's been an hour since you told me that." So I think the expectations are just a lot.
Yeah, aligning the expectations between the customer and development group and the organization as a whole. And when they get that positive feedback, it's got to be a motivator for your team that, yes, we are on the right track here.
Yeah.
So you mentioned about people just want to talk to a machine. I mean, you kind of alluded to that just there.
Here,
at the same time, there's definitely this continuum of intro to extroversion.
Yes.
The way people want their customer support. There's the people that want to walk up to a desk. There's still people that walk into banks and they still want to deposit their checks. That does exist. It's every day. I think there's less of them. But then there are kind of these great tools, and then there's always kind of the line of where the tool is no longer quite capable of giving me the level. So, a large part of the respondents that, in this survey that we looked at basically said that human is still very important. And I would argue in B2B, so you go back to what I said earlier about in B2C and the great consumerization experiences, some of that carries over. But in B2B, you're talking about, multi-million-dollar systems that are being deployed. Yep. You're talking about entire enterprises that are dependent on it to run. And when something goes down, maybe an agent isn't always enough. Kind of talk about how you're thinking about that balance, because it's got to be really important right now.
I always want to give our customers optionality, right? They feel like, hey, I can use an assistant and solve this. I'm good with that. If I need a human, our humans are there as well. So we look at agents as augmenting, not replacing by any means. Even some of the agents that we're building right now are actually making some of the tasks more autonomous, but not a role. For us, the humans will always be in the loop and on the loop as well, because it's this balance of human and machine that's a little bit of art and science together. I mean, the machine can munch through like massive amounts of data. Think about, looking at all the best practices, like more than a human can actually think during that time and say, what's the next best action? But there's 40 years of human intelligence that we have with our teams. And then some of the models, as much as reasoning has gotten better, it's still not as great as what some of our humans can do. And then the empathy. I don't think we were able to digitize empathy and that emotional intelligence. So the way I look at it is we're going to leverage like our WebEx voice agent, for example. And the voice agent has gotten so good that it doesn't sound kludgy like a bot does. But on the other hand, it also can recognize emotion. So if a customer is calling for something that's really simple, but it can sense the emotion, it will actually deflect that to a human. So our goal is to be able to meet customers where they are, but make sure that the human's always in the loop and is vetting and validating the decisions of the machines. Now, know that we're continuing to improve our models with all the capabilities and reinforcement learnings and everything else. But the human will always be in the loop. And what we think is that Cisco's customers trust us. we can't afford to lose that trust. So I don't see, at least in the near future, where it'll just be the machine. It'll be human and the machine.
Well, you know that Pat and I have been really aggressively trying to figure out how to create the Pat and Dan bots so that we can do these pods, and hopefully the Liz bot can join us at some point in the future. Not because we don't love seeing you and having that human experience. We just need to be able to do more things at one time.
Yeah.
But no, that's exactly the point. It's all about augmenting. It's all about adding. I think it's going to be interesting to kind of see how it all plays out, Liz. But I think companies that kind of make sure they keep that empathy at the same time figuring out how to very, very rapidly accelerate with technology will be the ones that do the best. So I want to thank you so much for joining us here on the 6.5. Congratulations on a big Cisco Live and all the big payload that you have. You've been saying that all week. Let's have you back sometime soon.
I would love to. Thank you both.
Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us here. We're at Cisco Live 2025 in beautiful San Diego, California. Check out all of our other coverage here from the event. Subscribe and be part of our community. But for this show, for this episode, it's time to say goodbye. See you all later.